Remember, before you make any VBuck purchases, to enter the name illahstrait in the Supporter Creator tab. Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back. My name is illahstrait, and in today's video we will be talking about the brand new Spectral Blade. Those are the stats that you receive it with when you first get it, and these are the stats that I have upgraded it to with all legendary perks, and I've decided to put 135% crit damage, 135% crit damage, element energy, and 20% damage, 135% crit damage, plus 45% damage to slowed snared targets. And I believe that one comes on it already, as well as one of the crit damages. So let's go ahead and get into the loadout that I have right now, the hero loadout. So for an assassin character, you will be using anatomy lessons, which increases your critical rating with swords by 18. And then for your tactical, you could use stun baton, or you could use the healing one, or you could use the energy drain one from Hardy Strikes and Vigorous Strikes. That's the ones that you can use, because in his kit he does not have critical rating, but he has something else that really helps out and makes this sword so you can use the heavy attack more often than most other characters. He has Easy Sword, increases sword heavy attack energy efficiency by 150%. So you'll be using 150% less energy when using a heavy attack. He of course has Assassination, and that increases your damage dealt with swords by 5% and stacks up to 5 times, so increases your damage with swords by 25%. He has Long Assassin, which increases the duration of that assassination skill. And then he also has Easier Sword, which improves the energy efficiency of Easy Sword by another 150%. So Easier Sword and Easy Sword, that's 300% heavy attack energy efficiency. This one seems to just affect the energy efficiency part, but there's also a skill you can get on the weapon itself called Heavy Attack Efficiency, which can also help lower the energy costs, and some people say that that increases the damage with heavy attacks as well, the one that's on the sword, but I can't confirm that, so I don't want to spread misinformation. Pain Mastery. Assassination stacks now grant a 3% bonus per stack to critical rating with edge melee weapons. And then Corrosive Blade, critical hits from the ninja's edge weapons deal 30% of hit damage over time, reducing the movement speed of a target by 30%. So that's really cool, and that will increase the damage of the sword as well, because it has damage to slowed snared on it, 45% more damage if I remember correctly. And then that critical rating thing, that stacks up to 5 times, so he'll be getting another 15. Those 3 times 15, 3 times 5 is 15, so yeah, he'll get another 15 crit rating, I believe. I was gonna say crit chance, but it's crit rating now. Again, you can use Hardy Strikes for survivability. That'll really help out. So next, let's get into another ninja that people like using with this sword, and Deadly Blade. She has a little bit more variety to her loadout. You can either use anatomy lessons just to have like a above average crit rating, which will definitely take you over 50 crit rating, probably 60 or something. And then, but I like to slot Brawler Luna for that additional 70% damage, crit damage with swords, and that is very useful for getting the sword damage up to, I believe it's 525. Let's double check right now. 525 and 25 critical hit damage. And since she has crit rating on her kit, that brings the natural crit up to 35% critical hit chance. Interesting. It says critical hit chance, not critical rating on the sword itself. So yeah, so two different stats right there that do the same thing basically. So right there, as you can see, the sword is pretty OP. You don't have to use it like this. You can also use Swordmaster Kin for more overall damage with the sword. Some people say when the crit damage is that high to just use Swordmaster Kin and you'll just do more damage with the sword. She'll be actually slashing the sword more often than not because she won't have quite as much energy efficiency as Assassin Kin. So I believe a heavy attack with the sword costs her 30 energy, whereas with Assassin Kin or Assassin Sarah or whatever assassin you're using, it will cost 30. So 7 with Kin, a 7 with an assassin, and more with the other characters. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at another character who you could use. These next two characters don't have Corrosive Blade, so you'll have to settle for Corrosion in the tactical slot, and they will both be set up very similar. So I'll just let you know that in advance. If I can find the ninja. Where is that ninja? The ninja in question is Brawler Luna. Brawler Luna herself has something special that the other characters don't have. Whereas Deadly Blade specializes in shurikens, this ninja specializes in kicking people with crescent kick. She has 5 Winds Cut, which increases sword damage by 24%, or those other two types. And she also has Kicking and Screaming, which applies vulnerability to the affected enemies, increasing damage taken from all sources by 40%. And that is a game changer. So potentially with Brawler Luna, you might have the chance to do even more damage than the other ninjas. But there is a weakness in Brawler Luna, in that she doesn't have Corrosive Blade, so you have to settle for Corrosion, which is similar but does slightly less damage. It does 15% of hit damage. I mean, that's what it takes for the damage over time when it's applied. I don't know, because sometimes when I'm slashing with this sword, I'll see like this double damage number, so I might see 200,000 twice or 100,000 twice over an enemy's head just before they expire. So I don't know if it's taking that number and then doing 30% of that damage with Corrosive Blade, but that would mean that the Assassin and Deadly Blade are slightly stronger. But with this ability that she has to put the enemy in vulnerable status, you know, with Kicking and Screaming, she can still do good, decent damage. I mean, the only people that can apply vulnerability are soldiers, you know, if you want to talk about that. So anyway, let's get into speaking of Swordmaster Kin. He is still useful, even though his survivability is a little bit questionable. Both Deadly Blade and Kin will have to have a Deadly Blade. I mean, both Kin and Brawler Luna will have to have Deadly Blade for Corrosion to make them more competitive with the other ninjas with Corrosive Blade. By the way, I don't think Corrosive Blade stacks with the Corrosion perk. Usually they don't stack. I mean, if it did, it'd be like 45% of sword hit damage on crit, which would be just a little bit too powerful. So the thing about Swordmaster Kin is that he does even more damage while Shadow Stance is active, and some people consider that a weakness, but actually ninjas take less damage from enemies while Shadow Stance is active, and in his case, he does 70% more damage while it is active with a sword, of course, hence the name Swordmaster. So anyway, let's get into the mission.
Looks like the Husk's plans have changed. They seem to know the
And this one, this is an 88 repair the shelter. And that is a legacy jackal launcher. So hopefully what will happen in this video is I can show you how effective this weapon is against bosses. With Assassin, it does not crit all the time with 3 critical hits. 3 critical hit damages, but when it does crit, oh boy, does it take out chunks of life. Hopefully I can get the mini boss before my other teammates do, so I can show you just how effective this is. Unless the mini boss slaps me down to the ground. Oh yeah, there he is. Speak of the devil. Let's get this guy. Let's clap his cheeks. That didn't sound right. But as you can see, the Spectral Slash is super effective. I think I wiped him out before any of my teammates could get to him. So, but I'm not sure. Teammate could have been shooting at him from across the way. I was mostly farming this match, so I don't really expect to get the highest combat. I know some of the teammates were going around doing encampments and such, but I was low on materials, so I was like, bump that. Need them materials though. But if I didn't and I just went around and farmed the map, I mean killed everything in sight on the map, like at the encampments and such, I would have probably the highest combat score, because look at that, it's ridiculous. It's like death touch every time I teleport to him, and if it doesn't work the first time, sometimes it seems to not register the damage, then do it a second time. Getting almost 400k damage in one slash is just ridiculous. But like some people will say, having 1 crit rating and 2 crit damages on here isn't so bad when it's all legendary like this anyway. And then you can just use it with any ninja without having to slot crit rating. But I'm doing pretty fine with just that, what is it, 35 crit rating, and then when I farm assassination I get 15 more. I call it farming assassination because you're farming assassination stacks. You really don't need to, and you have to just slash a target for 5 times to get back up to max assassination stacks, which gives you 25% more damage with your sword and 15% more crit rating with your sword for 11 seconds. So you may have noticed with that boss, I did, if I remember correctly, I did farm a little bit of assassination, and then I just went ham on him. If you like what you're seeing today and you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button, tap that subscribe button, and smash that subscribe button.
My form is deadly. Roll up to the club and defeat my enemies. Blah!
Look at that flag though. You're just wiping your flag all across my face.
Even.